President Christian Wulff has just called Gaddafi a psychopath. Also breaking news, Swiss government has decided to freeze all of the assets of Muammar Gaddafi. This is something NGOs have been calling for in the last few days, and could be the beginning of an international financial stranglehold on Libya. Sanctions, the European Union decided against them because of objections from Malta and some other countries in the last 24 hours. But the crisis in Libya is having a major impact on oil prices. Prices of the latest barrels of Brent crude have reached $119.97, their highest since 2008. And there are warnings it could go up to $220 a barrel. The overall cost has been rising over the past few weeks, and it mirrors the unrest in North Africa. In January, the troubles in Tunisia were followed quickly by those in Egypt, and the price jumped by a huge $1.66, reaching the landmark $100 a barrel figure by the end of the month. Well, Libya only provides 2% of the world's oil output, although its share of the European market is estimated at about 10%. Analysts have explained why the price jump is so significant.
I think it's a mix of panic reaction and speculative reaction, really, among buyers of oil and oil futures. So I think that events in Libya are certainly scaring a good number of people, and and those who value stability in the Middle East and in the oil markets generally are quite scared, I think, by what's happening there now. And also, I guess, speculative investors are also coming in and betting that things might get worse before they get better.
Just to update you, that line from the West German, or the German President Christian Wulff, Muammar Gaddafi is a psychopath, he says. That's all from London. Back to Doha and Tamor.
Stephen, thanks very much indeed. And let's just bring you up to date once again with just the main developments in Libya over the past few hours. And in the past few minutes, the US has said that it supports the expelling of Libya from the United Nations Human Rights Council. And speaking on state television a little earlier on Thursday, Muammar Gaddafi once again blamed the uprising in his country on external factors. Principally this time, he blamed Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden. He said the protesters on the streets were all young people on drugs. And in the other major development of the day, forces loyal to Colonel Gaddafi launched a fierce counterattack in some of the towns and cities close to the capital. One witness has told Al Jazeera that more than 100 people were killed in the town of Az-Zawiya, just west of Tripoli. Meanwhile, officers from the Air Force base in Benghazi, as well as some security chiefs, have all told Al Jazeera that they are abandoning the regime and joining the revolution. And Libya's ambassador to Jordan has also now announced his resignation. Well, amid all of this, let's find out what the people in Libya have been saying with all the latest on the social media websites. Here's Imran Khan at our web desk.
Thanks, Tamor. Well, the great thing about the web is it allows almost instant reaction, and that's what we've got to the micro-blogging site Twitter next. This from the town of Misrata. I hear firing and shooting in Misrata right now. Gaddafi army tries to destroy the TV station. And one on that Gaddafi speech. New speech. He's now Queen Elizabeth, and it's all bin Laden's fault. That's a new one. And this from the Libyan capital, Tripoli. Regime supporters going round streets shouting for people to come out and go to work, calling the people cowards. And an indication of just how free the eastern city of Benghazi has become. The first independent newspaper has just been published and put online. It's called Feb 17th Revolution. The masthead reads, "We shall not surrender our victory or we die." And then it goes on to show a very unflattering cartoon of Libya's leader. Now, we've also been hearing that the eastern port city of Derna is no longer under the control of the government. This video, posted to the web, claims to show a group of women. Now, they're holding the so-called liberation flag and protesting in the yard of an old mosque, and they're chanting anti-Gaddafi slogans. Now, another way people are getting their voices heard outside the country is by calling into the website Feb 17 Voices. This lets them record an audio message, which is then put up on the web. Here's one of them.
Day we left, we heard killings, rioting in the streets. I don't know if this was true, but what we heard from people as in reference that some houses, women got raped by them, and so we had to leave that location. Things have been quiet after his speech. Thousands of people left in fear, even if you're anti-government. They went into the streets and they were very scared. They raised up the green flag and started chanting, "Yeah, we want Gaddafi, we want Gaddafi." He announced that with a text message that the schools have been back in order. Everyone should start working. Everyone should go back to their ordinary lives. We heard from parents in Benghazi. They said there's supposed to be a march of dozens of people coming towards our way.
A very harrowing account there from an eyewitness. Now, as you've seen, the military appear to have given up on the clampdown in some areas of Libya. Pictures are now emerging of the aftermath of recent fighting. This video posted to Web is claimed to have been filmed at Benghazi airport. Now, the unidentified men in the clip say it shows an armoured personnel carrier used by what they say were mercenaries. Now, they claim the fighters were drinking alcohol and using drugs. The pictures also appear to show ammunition and military uniforms and countless spent shells. So keep up to date with all of the latest, including our live blog, which is updated throughout the day. The address, aljazeera.net/English. There's new video, opinion and analysis from both inside and outside of Libya. So plenty more to come, but for now, back to you, Taimur.
Imran, thanks very much indeed. And let me just remind you once again of what's been happening on the east coast of the US this morning. There have been meetings going on and a little bit of activity. And we've just heard that the United States has said it now supports calls for expelling Libya from the United Nations Human Rights Council. It says the government in Libya has violated the rights of its people. President Obama is due to meet British Prime Minister David Cameron and the French President Nicolas Sarkozy today. We've also heard that the Swiss government is going to freeze assets belonging to Colonel Gaddafi. Now, I'm joined now in our studio in Doha by Tarek Youssef, who's the Dean of the Dubai School of Government and a Senior Research Fellow. He's also a Libyan who comes from the city of Benghazi. Thank you for being with us.
Pleasure.
Where do we stand at this particular point in time in what's going on? Because we've seen, it appears, activity in some of the cities close to Tripoli. We've seen Muammar Gaddafi's calls for his supporters to take to the streets being largely ignored. We've seen his son inviting foreign media, excluding Al Jazeera, of course, to come and see that everything is fine there. It all seems a little surreal, doesn't it?
It does. I think what has been happening, at least in the last 24, 48 hours, is consolidation of the forces of the revolution in the east. Tribal elders meeting with ex-government officials, ex-military personnel, taking control, organizing themselves, and essentially creating a de facto breakup state within what used to be Libya. In the West, we're seeing precisely what Gaddafi promised, the counter-attack, the counter forces to the revolution of the people. So the city of Zawiya has come under intense fire and bombardment. City of Tripoli is being further and further cornered off with all sorts of reinforcements of mercenaries, loyalists from the military and security establishment. I think this is a moment where